Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills for you to level up your way with words and become much more articulate. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to deal with a mean boss. Your work, whatever you're doing, it is going to consume a large part of your life. And it's bad if you don't like what you do, and it becomes even worse if not only do you not like what you do, you're constantly surrounded by a negative team, and you're surrounded by a mean boss. A mean boss can be spotted in a variety of ways, where one thing that you can determine to spot the mean boss is that they're always putting you down, whether it's in public or whether it's in private. And in today's talk, I'm going to give you some tips in order to deal with a mean boss. The first thing I want to do, though, is I want to get something out of the way. And this is what I call tough love. With certain job positions, it only attracts mean bosses. For a long time, I was working in places like Subway, Dunkin' Donuts, and 7-Eleven. And during my time working these three jobs in college, I came to realize that all my managers were brown. And not only were they brown, aka Bengali, Indian, Pakistani, they were also mean. I mean, they would put you down in front of other people, and they would consistently do it. And not only would they put you down, their wives would put you down as well. For a long time, I thought that mean bosses, it was just a part of what it was like to be a worker. But later on, when I started my engineering career, things had drastically changed. That's when I noticed that a lot of these bosses were nice. I found out later on that they had to be nice. If they had a high turnover rate among the people that they managed, then their supervisor would get at the boss. They'd be like, "What's wrong with your personality where so many of the people that are reporting to you keep leaving in droves?" That's why a lot of these managers within the engineering firms that I worked in were nice. So this is one of the first things I want you to ask. What kind of job do you have? Do you believe that this is one of those jobs that will attract a mean boss? And here's what I realized. Once I was done with this college side of me, where I was working a lot of these odd jobs, and I was now a consumer of, let's say, Subway, 7-Eleven, Dunkin' Donuts, I was happy whenever I saw a mean boss working in one of these establishments, because these establishments are so freaking chaotic, where if the boss is not mean, then this place does not run smoothly. Check it out the next time you go to, let's say, a Dunkin' Donuts. If the boss is super nice, you'll notice it's taking you 35 minutes to get your coffee. But if the boss is mean, now the workers are alert and the workers are giving you the coffee real quick. So you want to ask yourself, wait a minute, am I in one of these positions where it's smart for the bosses to be mean? I mean, are a lot of different individuals coming to my company where they get lackadaisical quickly, therefore my boss is being conditioned into being mean in order to manage these unruly employees? You could be a great employee, but I'm telling you to take yourself out of it and look at the profession as a whole. Certain professions, they only attract mean bosses, and there's a reason why the bosses are mean. Because that's the only type of management style that works with this group of people. Now, let's say you're not like that. Let's say you don't work in a 7-Eleven, a Dunkin' Donuts, whatever. You're working in an engineering firm and your boss is still mean. What do you do then? This is when you have to talk to them. And it's very annoying because I hate advice like that. Whenever you go on Reddit and let's say you have one of these, this relationship issue that you're having, and you type in Reddit, "What do I do?" 85 to 95% of the comments is, "Maybe you should just talk to your partner." It's like, man, come on, man. You can't give me something better than that. And unfortunately, no. In regards to this situation, you actually have to talk to your manager. Because a lot of the times, the manager is learning to be a manager, just like you are learning to be an employee. Most of these managers, if you hear their stories, one thing that you will realize is that they never wanted to be a manager. There's actually a concept nowadays known as the management crisis, where companies, they're noticing that a lot of their employees do not want to move up because machines don't argue back, but people do. So an employee, he's enjoying his current role, and he's been in the company for a long time, and his supervisors are like, well, what's next for you, dear employee? He's like, I'm good with the way things are. And the supervisors are like, no, you've been in the same position for 15 years. It's time for you to be a manager. So this guy, against his own will, is being dragged into the management position. And now he has to attend all these different seminars, training, leadership courses, etc. And he has to manage a lot of employees who are unruly. The unfortunate truth is that you could be a great worker, but a lot of individuals nowadays within companies just have a bad attitude. They're very entitled. They don't show up on time. They whine a lot. And this manager who didn't even want the position in the first place is now saying, man, now I gotta manage these people. And this sweet guy turns sour out of the blue moon. So unless you talk to them, and you gotta have some credentials to talk to them too. If you're just a slacker, then there's a reason he's being mean to you. Okay, but if you have the credentials and you're saying, look, Timothy, you and I, we are going to be working together for a long time, and there's certain ways that you speak to me, especially in public, that I do not appreciate, and this is something that I do not want progressing further. Can we please put a pin in it? Something along those lines, having that conversation one-on-one with them will drastically reduce the likelihood of them being mean to you. And the final thing that I just want to say as I end this talk is that a lot of these managers, they seem mean, but they're not really mean. It's just that they trust you. They feel as though they can talk to you in a way where they talk to their friends. Have you ever seen that? Where if it's an acquaintance, you're not going to talk to them a certain way. But if it's a friend, you'll give them the direct delivery. Not the indirect, but the direct. So you want to make sure you're not unfairly labeling your manager as a mean guy, because a lot of the times they're not mean. They just have rapport with you and they feel like they can talk to you directly rather than indirectly. So a recap for today's talk is that the first idea that we said is that certain positions are going to attract a mean manager. Even if you talk to them, whatever, they're just going to be mean. And it's mainly because this certain profession requires mean managers to tame the unruly employees. The second idea that we talked about was that in order to deal with a mean manager, you got to pull them to the side and you need to talk to them. But before you talk to them, you got to make sure that you're someone that has the track record to talk to them. Are you a good employee, or have you been slipping as of late? If you are a good employee, talk to them and have a heart-to-heart and see if they can reduce the likelihood of them being mean. Because a lot of these managers, they don't want to be there in the first place. And the third idea that I shared was that a lot of these managers are not mean. They're just boys with you, man. They're just ribbing you a little bit. They're giving you that fraternity hazing treatment in a loving sort of way. So no need to be too sensitive. Make sure you're not unfairly labeling these guys as mean for no reason. Good luck, because this is tough. I mean, dealing with a mean manager is not easy. And if nothing works, then it's best to start looking elsewhere or start moving to different roles within the company, just so you're not in this manager's presence. Hopefully today's talk helped, and if it did, drop that like for me right on below. Stay subscribed for more episodes on the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel.